Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Blue Abroad Show, the real Blue Abroad Show, the studio version. Pumped for this one. Cannot wait to get through this with you guys. I'm joined, as always, by my man, Dan. Look at you, mate.
Hey, yeah. Copped a bit of heat in the week, so I didn't get changed from work.
You smell delicious. You
Thank
look
you.
great. You look sharp. You've had a shave. You've had a shower.
Done everything, yeah. Everything
Mate,
that was requested by the fan base.
We beat Geelong in Geelong, and you're still getting banter.
I was going to say, yeah, usually it's the players who copy. Now I am.
Yeah, well, mate, welcome. As I say, welcome to showbiz.
I'll copy if Carlton win all the time. I don't mind. I'll take the flak for the boys.
Fair call.
I'll take it.
Obviously, we can't have this show and we can't have this studio without the great man, Shad Watson, who pulls the strings from behind us over there. You can't see him, but he does a lot for us here, and obviously very grateful. If you haven't checked out his company just yet, it's Assertive Media, and they have all your production needs. If you're interested in starting your own podcast, creating your own content, and you want it to look schmick like this, Shad is your guy. So get in touch with him, Assertive Media on Facebook, and we'll have a link, obviously, in the description below after this is uploaded fully, and the details will be there. Also, as you can see in the middle here, we spoke a lot about Sammy G Design last week, and she was good enough to send over some of these prints for us to put in the studio, and can I just say, they look fantastic.
Look very pretty, don't they? I like them. I like the blue.
Yep. We had a competition, obviously, over the weekend to predict the correct margin and the winner. And we had Justin Salcher, who took out the prize. He tipped us by 2. I don't know how. I was worried that we were going to have another jackpot. But congratulations to you, Justin. And listen, let's get into it. Mate, Dan, we'll start with you, mate, because it was an unbelievable weekend and a game. Tell me everything from your end and your experience.
Well, it was good. I was lucky enough to be on a Skype call with young Rafi, fan of the channel. He wanted to watch the game together. My Geelong mate dropped out, coincidentally, about 6 hours before the game. So I was left with him. Yeah, it was. I kind of knew. I said to Rafi at the time, I had a feeling we were going to win at bounce when that team talk, seeing Sam Doherty angry point at all the players, and then at the opening bounce, seeing Cripps, he was like a prize fighter, just bobbing up and down. He looked on from the ball up, and that first quarter was just magical all around.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, from the first moment, we were all flat early last week. Obviously after round 2, and we all spoke about the start. I thought when you look at the first goal, we wanted, to get the ball in our better users, that tap down, bit of a scrimmage. And then to Murphy out in space, you get Murphy out in space. That kick inside 50 is going to be a nice one, and it was. And not to say that I knew we were going to be on from that moment, but it was just kind of like a relief. Oh, okay. Well, there's the first goal of the game. I think let's touch on a little bit of how the week panned out, because what we had this time last week, we had a doc press conference on the Monday morning, which was the usual post-game press conference with the media. He spoke, a lot about, we're going to be ready. He gave us the company line that we were complaining about, let's be honest, because we hadn't seen it yet. But fair play. They didn't do a lot of media last week as a club. I didn't see anything come in terms of representatives speaking from the club until the day before the game, or the Friday, I should say, because they did the pre-game media press conference with Teague, and it was fabulous. Less talk, more action. Obviously, we're excited now, and we're happy for them to talk. But what did you take out of the message and the response?
Well, I think we were quieter than usual. I mean, we do talk too much as a club. I mean, should have given Doc more faith, though. Being part Scottish, he's part Pom. We knew he wouldn't talk shit. And he told the truth, didn't he? They were ready. I mean, for me, it was obviously they'd worked hard. I did enjoy, though, at the start of that game, just seeing Doc. He kind of was firing the troops up. And to me, that is what I want to see from Carlton moving forward. Just a bit less talk and keep it understated. Because when you do performances like that, that does the world of talking. Like, speaking to a lot of rival AFL fans, they all will have been like, Jesus, you've turned a corner. That was a very Carlton game to lose. And the fact that they held on for that fourth quarter as well was like really showing that maybe these boys aren't talking. They have got something, and they're starting to see what we've been saying all along, talented bunch of boys. And they prove that. Yeah. Geelong's a tough place, probably the toughest place to go in the AFL.
I feel like it's Geelong in Geelong and then West Coast at Optus. They're the two big ones. But, West Coast have sort of had their period where So, not as good as what they are now. So you sort of could get them there. Geelong, this decade, really, this century, I should say. I don't have the stat. I probably should have looked it up, but I don't know how many games they've lost in Geelong since the turn of the century. Obviously, early days in the century, they were struggling. They had their rebuild, so to speak. We spoke a little bit about it last week as well. On the show with Matt, when the Geelong supporter, and he was talking about early 2000s. They had to get it right off field and on field. But special performance. We'll get to the fade out as well because we want to be covering everything on all angles. But I mean, was it as simple as the mental preparation and the mental, the awareness to come out fighting, knowing that, the games are shorter? There's a bit of a trend, I think, that's happening in the season where the teams that get off to a good start can usually hold on. Was it just mental for you, or did you see tactically?
Well, I went through the stats. There was a huge increase. It was 26.2% as a team in disposal efficiency in the first quarter versus the last 13 games was an improvement. But it was also the length of pass. We talked about last week, short passes that we play in the second, third, fourth quarter. They were really, really prevalent in the first quarter. There was a real indication of moving the ball quicker, shorter, and sharper. And I think the first goal we saw, that was 2 kicks down the wing, back into the corridor, and it was a goal. It was a very concerted effort.
What was with the kicking? Where did it come from?
Well, I covered it a little bit. We covered it a bit last week when I said that it's more of a kicking game in the pre-game review. It's
at Geelong you need to kick
and
it.
I think so. You're kind of forced to play a direct game of football because you've got a lot of ground to cover. So I think that helped Carlton in the fact that they couldn't. I think still that usually we kind of sit back to see what they're doing and try and keep it close, knowing that second and third quarter we've got it in us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now this shorter format game, like you say, it's been proven you've got to win the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And really, they went out and played that second and third quarter a quarter earlier.
Yep.
And a lot of teams are having bad fourth quarters. I think this week it was shown most of the sides that won had a bit of a blip fourth quarter. But if you do the work at the first like we did, that game was pretty much won there and then.
Yeah, I last week I talked about late in the game, I talked about how I felt like, we were going to win the game. I was confident we were going to win the game, but I didn't feel like we deserved it. Like the footy gods kind of gave us what we deserved. On Saturday night, there was about 56 seconds to go. I think there was a stoppage in our half-back line. Ball up, and there was a sense of calm. I don't know why. It was weird. It was almost like I had this feeling of we deserved to win this game. Had we lost it, I think it would have been it would have been miserable.
I reckon that would have been season over if we'd lost it.
Yeah.
I reckon mentally you would never recover from that.
Yeah,
because that would have been 2 weeks in a row.
Yep.
The finish line has been there.
Yeah.
And you just couldn't get the job done. But I actually think, I said it in my video a lot. I was very excited when I recorded that. I think this is the line in the sand moment. I think now this team has never beaten a team that's a top 4 team for 4 quarters. From start to finish, they've done that. So now they've literally got all the tools. They've beaten good teams from losable situations. They've beaten teams without their best players, Fremantle. Now this group has beaten a Premiership favourites. A lot of people after round 2 were saying Geelong have got it locked away.
Yeah.
This is their year. We've beaten them in their backyard. So now the boys shouldn't fear any side in the comp.
Yeah. Let's turn the attention to you guys. And as always, obviously, the channel grows only as much as what you allow it to. So want to give a shout out to Adam Galgano, Omar Kazi, YouTube, Fallen Sports, Riley Starrage, ZV3, Carlton 345, and our newest member, Damien Munier, who signed up today. Thank you so much for your support. What about you? What did you see about the game? I've got a few comments here that I want to get to. One here from Josh Klebs. He's been hitting me up. He's excited.
I love Josh. Love the PMs.
He says, I hope we don't have to be bashed up all week to actually respond this week. This week is huge. Just have to win no matter what Don's team is named. We'll touch on them, Josh, but it's great. Adrian Salerno. Boys, let me give you a perfect example of what it means to have Doc back. Round 3, 2019, Jack Bowes goals and wins the game for Gold Coast because there was no blue on the line. This time he was there with Myers. It's a fantastic point.
So Doc's, I think the most important thing that Doc did wasn't stop anyone. It was his ability at the kicking.
Yeah.
And you've got to go corridor in Geelong. And Carlton like going through corridor last year when we had Simo doing the kick-ins and anyone who put their hands up, it was just turnover central. We used to invite pressure. The ability to flat kick outside of your defensive 50 like him and hit targets. He was doing that in the third quarter. He must have taken like 6 and hit every target in the fourth. He was just hitting targets. It takes the pressure off because the next kick's easy.
Yeah.
It's that kick. So for me, I think Doc did well in his defensive role, but I think his understated ability is his ability to hit targets. He's, in my opinion, the best small defender in the comp without any competition.
Yeah, well, we're going to get to them. We're going to get to him and Eddie as well, because I saw things that Doc did with those kicks and that Eddie did on the ground level that I found myself saying, we just haven't had that. But there's a cool little comment here. Jeff Oldwinkle, hello baggers from New Zealand. Love the program. Finally, the boys played with some physical hardness not seen in years. I want to try and get to a few more comments tonight. I felt like I didn't get to as many last night. A bit rusty.
Yeah, we weren't the happiest people last week there.
Matty Bem, winners fizz. Couldn't be prouder of the boys.
Yeah, the boys.
We got 6 drip apparel. Just got dinner delivered. Perfect timing to watch. Glad Eddie's back. Vizzy Blue, Setters and Samo are nowhere at the minute. Rowan Vertigan, hey guys, jumping on for the first time. Love your work. Far better than what's on TV. And thank you, mate. Thanks. To be honest, that's the purpose of why the channel was created, because what we have at the moment in footy media as an industry is, we'll watch that game on Saturday, we'll tune into 360 and on the couch, and they're great programs. But the Blues, being a big Melbourne club, Victorian club, we're lucky. We might get 3 or 4 or 5 minutes of coverage. So,
well, the only Victorian club. Well,
correct, the only Victorian club. So to have the ability to chat Carlton only for 1 hour is with you guys as well, and your input is fantastic.
Well, I have been described as the Carlton Kane Corns.
You've been described as the Carlton Cane Corns, just looking for a headline.
I've had a lot of insults. That was probably the lowest.
Yeah. No, well, look, you put your. I mean, I copped a bit for the Plowman rating. I wanted to reward him. I look back, he probably shouldn't have gotten an 8, but anyway, it's not about me. It is just opinion.
You did get a lot of abuse for that. I did enjoy it.
You got to cop it. Let's turn to the game. I want to get your input as well at home. Let's touch on the individuals, some of the brilliance, some of the things that happened from individuals that, we just missed. For you guys at home, give us a little summary of your game, of what you saw in the game. I'll read them out here, but start with you, Dan. You touched on it before, but I mean, who are some of the individuals that responded when we challenged them last week?
Well, I think the big feedback last week was players. We didn't have any winners in there. And if you look at the people who've got the highest win percentage, you've got Pitternet there. He's got like 67% because he comes from Hawks. I think start with him. He was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Like Stanley was unplayable the week before. And I think what Pitternet brings is not just his second and third efforts. To me, that's something that Cruiser doesn't have, that Pitternet does. His ability that when he wins the tap and it's not won by his midfield, he was getting his hands in and stopping the stoppage. In the pre-game conference, I said that we had to stop Danger. He laid 2 tackles on Danger. I mean, Danger's a tough man to catch, but he wrapped him up. I thought Pitternet was brilliant around the ground. The fact he drops in the hole.
Man.
Was honestly, like, I've never been a big fan of Italians, but I'll make an exception for that guy. He's a good little bloke. I thought another one who's got high win percentage as well is Eddie Betts. And I think that last 30 seconds summed up Eddie Betts' night. He wasn't willing to lose.
No.
And the fact he socketed it again, chased him down, wrapped him up. And I thought a big thing is he didn't just wrap him up, he dragged him into the ground as well. He let him know, you fucked up.
Yep.
And I've got a lot of time for that.
Yeah, of course.
I thought Williamson was phenomenal. I think he brings something that Carlton don't have. I know people have rated him a 5 out of 10, a 6 out of 10. But I think what he brings is there was no easy possessions. And we're the biggest team at conceding uncontested inside 50s in the comp. Everything you took on him, he hurt you. He bumped you in. And I thought that bump on Selwood, people have given him shit.
I liked it.
You're 30 points ahead. I don't mind giving away a cheap free kick. He milked that as well. I mean, honestly, Selwood went down easier than a cheap date. So for me, like, doesn't count. If he was a man, he wouldn't have fallen over like that. But I thought it was brilliant. He got the bump from Stanley and he passed it on to Stanley's captain and laughed at him. And what I loved, if anyone notices, after that goal, Gieran Myers is giving him all this. 2 minutes later, he catches Myers in possession to get the free kick in front of goal. And he laughed in his face back. And I was like, that is what I was talking about letting them know you're playing Carlton now. We're no longer 18th. We're no longer 17th.
Yeah.
We're a proper team.
Yeah,
So,
mate, you've summarised it perfectly. I thought when the Selwood, because people call him a diver. For me, he's a smart footballer. The shrug is it's just intelligent, and he cops a bit for it, but he's not a diver, in my opinion. He can draw a free kick.
He went down easy.
That was un-Joel Selwood like. And to be honest with you, when it happened, I was happy that I wasn't happy with the free kick, obviously, but I was happy that Williamson, being the young guy that he is, was able to give Joel Selwood a bump off the ball just to sort of let him know that we're here. And mentally, when Joel Selwood, the almighty Joel Selwood, is diving, that's setting the tone for the rest of the side and where they were at.
I thought you saw as well. Selwood was probably one of their better players in the first quarter.
Yep.
And I thought that affected him. Because
Mm-hmm.
he seemed quite off his game after that, Selwood. Because Selwood's one of them players, like if he gets angry, like the prelim final last year, where he just implodes.
Yep.
You could see that happening with Selwood. He wasn't happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was telling that no one came over to remonstrate with Selwood.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was a bump later on and Carlton remonstrated about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that showed a lot about, not saying they listened to us, me having a rant about them, but it was nice to see one of the big things I said, show that passion, show that pride in the monogram.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that is what I'm talking about. I want them to say, this is our game.
Yep.
You're playing our game now. You're playing Carlton.
For sure.
And Essendon and Geelong didn't like it.
No, they didn't. A few more comments here before we continue. Viggers J was impressed by our tackling this week. Although we ultimately lost the count, we had multiple guys in there making sure that when we tackled someone, they stayed tackled. Wildy, good evening to you, mate. Gibbons and Martin's energy around the ball, especially early, was great. Tracy Reed, watching on my Android TV. Great work. Thanks, Tracy. Brody Marston, hey lads, great to see Honey and Phil playing well in the twos again. We'll get onto them. Don't worry about that. We'll get onto that. Weeders season, Weeders All Australia certified. Love it. Jono Baruch, our use of the football by hand and foot is probably the best we've used it in too long since the rebuild. I've never seen us play like that. That was maybe a quarter, maybe a patch, but for 3 quarters, it was just, it's like, who is this? And where was this?
I got a text at quarter time from one of my mates who's a Richmond fan, and he said that if you play like this, there's no one that can match you.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a big honour coming from a Richmond fan, that they do play some elite football. He was very Richmond like that first quarter, the fact we controlled the footy.
Yeah.
Old saying that Jose Mourinho used to say, that you can't score goals if we hold the possession.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, that was a great example of Geelong. They couldn't get their hands on the pill. Yeah. So easy to win a game doing that.
Yeah. I touched on 2 things before that I saw during the game that I found myself saying we were missing that so much last year. You touched on it before with Doherty and his kicking in the preseason. You know, we were discussing how he can use the long kick, use the short kick, but those pinpoint kicks out of defense that open the ground up, we just haven't got someone that can do that like him. And then the second one, and we've gone probably too long without mentioning him, Eddie Betts. I mean, his ground level work. We saw it at Match Sim in the preseason.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
the magic that he just creates. There's something happening when he's around the ball. I'm just so happy for him because a lot of us, including yourself and me as well, we were mindful of bringing in a guy that was too old. We're not in the premiership window, and we're so used to seeing young kids get a game. But for him to come in and also the criticism of, he only plays well against the Gold Coast Suns and 12 of his goals came against the Suns. He's kicked 2 against Geelong, and the history books will say it's a 2-goal game, but it was so much more than that.
That kick to Murph with his wrong foot. That was one of the best things I've seen on a footy field.
Yeah, it'll get forgotten about in the history books because at the end of the day, we look at possessions and goals, and that'll be it. But I just thought, I was just so happy for him given the week that he had. And
I thought the tackle was the big one for me because that was what Carlton is about.
Yeah.
We're a football team that never says never say we don't lay down and die. And that tackle summed that up. If anyone is a young player for Carlton and you've seen that old man chase a guy down, and you could see it in his eyes, he wasn't letting Geelong take that possession. When as soon as he soccered that, he was running after it before he kicked it. You knew in his eyes, you're not getting this ball.
No.
You'd have to kill him to get the ball. No. And I love that. I thought that finish was brilliant. The only blotch I've got on his resume is he didn't kick that goal at the end. I would have loved.
Yeah, just to seal it.
I was loving the fact he got the mark, and I was like, go on, kick a spectacular. And he went for the nice banana finish. That would have been a champagne moment, wouldn't it? Him kicking 3.
Yeah.
But That's the only black mark. But to me, I will say one thing. A good friend of mine in Geelong was like this. Oh, you wouldn't have beaten us if we had a crowd. I'll say this. Our cheer squad makes so much noise. I reckon that
Can you imagine them?
kick to Murphy, they would have raised the roof at that
yeah.
Mickey Mouse Stadium.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's not an AFL football level. It's
Yeah.
just a football field on top of another football field.
Well, that's it.
Because, I mean, like, obviously, you know, circles will be quite confusing for people out that way. Education system ain't that good.
Well, they do have Deakin as a sponsor. Maybe they need to teach them some simple geometry.
Yeah, I mean, they're still probably at them, you know, putting the building blocks in the shape stage, life members and stuff. So understand it's a weird ground.
Love it.
But nah,
How good's Carlton arrogance?
I've copped a lot of stick because as my father-in-law, if you're watching, hello to you. He watched my Pominos thing and said it is a roller coaster, your mind.
Yep.
Because 1 minute I was in tears, and the next minute I'm like, Melbourne is blue, baby.
Yeah.
We're back. I mean, we shouldn't get carried away, viewers.
Correct.
At home.
Correct.
But what I will say is...
We will, but we shouldn't.
But we shouldn't get carried away. But what I'd like to know is, in the comments, just tell me what you think I should wear when we present the grand final special when we play Richmond in the final. You reckon? Singlet back?
Love it.
Let's go back.
I've got a few here. A few words of encouragement.
Oh, God.
Cristiano Robotis. I reckon what won us the game is our intensity and determination. We knew we had to show up this week against a quality club in their backyard. Never been prouder. We've got Ollie, Tristan, does Fisher come in this week? We'll definitely get to that. Alexander Breyer. We are going to need 4 goals against the Suns this year. Yep. Big man Charlie. Love how Rishudo said they were happy to get rid of McGovern, and he hasn't been good for Carlton. The game after that, Mitch scores 2 goals. Adelaide scored 1 goal in 3 quarters as a team versus Suns. Touch on Mitch because he, put the head on him last week. No, yeah, mate.
My boy, you finally did it.
I don't enjoy being disappointed in players. I thought there was, and that's the other thing as well about the game. I felt like as well as we played, minus the fourth quarter, and we'll get to that a little bit too. As well as we played, we still have room for improvement. I mean, aside from, and I don't want to get seduced by disposal numbers, but aside from Cripps.
Cheers, David Teague.
But aside from, what was it? It was Cripps, Gibbons, and Jack Martin as midfielders. No one had more than 18 possessions. Gibbons and Jack both had 18. Cripps had the 24, I believe it was. Doc also had his fair share of the back. So what it tells me was, and again, everyone was playing a role. There was a different focus this week, but there's improvement. Like, I know Samo can play better than what he did and win more of the ball. I know Setterfield can win more of the ball. I thought he was good defensively, but he can win more of the ball. We know Mark Murphy can win more of the ball. We were told by Tiggy that he was put on a halfback flank to start the game, and then he sort of drifted in and out. He didn't play that sole midfield role. So we know that there are changes being made, and obviously we're not privy to conversations in the coach's box. We don't know what's going on, but just, I see areas for improvement. I think Harry, there's another level he can go to. And Mitch McGovern, we get back to him. He's a moments guy, isn't he? He might not get a lot of the ball, but it's all about him making the most of his opportunities. And the long goal that he kicked in the first quarter, it's, that's,
I love my Mitch.
That's what you bring those guys in the club for. That, for me, it was, as much as I criticized him last week, I've got to turn it around now and give him as equal amount of praise, because I thought he did exactly what was needed. Still want to see a little bit more from him, but hard to fault them.
I thought Mitch had the hardest job. We covered Tom Stewart at the start of the week, and I said that Mitch's leading patterns are going to be important to it. And Tom Stewart had zero influence. He had his hands full all night. So he did his job, and I thought that goal, that was a moment of brilliance. Pick it up, just kick it, get through. I mean, it's a shame he couldn't have done it the week before when we needed it. But, God, that was a good goal. Yeah. And to me, it was great as well, because, Mark Rasciuto's a poor man's Craig Bradley. Absolute hack.
Bang.
Absolute hack of a footballer. Shut up. No one cares about you, your crappy achievements, or your rubbish football club.
Yeah.
Delete Twitter. Hugh Greenwood killed you. If you're getting outsmarted by Hugh Greenwood, it's time to get rid of Twitter, folks.
How good was that?
He needs to delete Twitter. I'd delete it. If Hugh Greenwood had a pop shot at me, I'd remove social media.
Yeah, we talk about, our guys in the off-field, the administrators. If anyone from our football department got into it like that with the next player, you'd probably be very disappointed as a fan, I guess. You don't want to see that. He lowered his colours, I guess. Big Roo.
Adelaide, a complete bubble.
They are a bubble.
That club, man. What? That is the most relevant club in
But
the
we need to
AFL.
show respect because they gave us 2 first-rounders for Bryce Gibbs.
We don't need to show them respect. We just ripped them off like the mugs they are. They are the gypsy team of the AFL. No one cares.
Yeah, Peter Attard made a great point here, and he was, and I'll get to it. He says, what's amazing is how Walsh has been left out of discussion, and that's exciting as we know he's yet to hit his stride. As good as he was in 2019, that's to come. Further to my point that I was just making, there's room for improvement. Now, this is good for him. It's a good test for him. He's going through a little bit of adversity. I saw his game like this, in the clinches, link up play, handballs in traffic. I think he's fine. It's just when he got the ball in space, he just seemed to blaze away a bit. Now, again, not knowing what the coaches wanted him to do, maybe the instruction was just bomb it long and get territory as soon as you can. So maybe that was the case. But I just felt some of his kicking was just, you can get better at that.
I think the big one for me is that I don't think Cripps was as influential as he usually is in the terms of he didn't stand out.
Yeah.
Like usually when Carlton win, you look at that game and you're like, oh my God, thank Christ for Cripps.
Yeah.
But for me, when you look
thank God for the pit, mate.
Yeah,
is what I said after this game.
for me, when you look at good teams, like Martin will have like a 9 out of 10 game, but then there's like a plethora of 7s.
Yeah.
We had that this week. Cripper dominated around the contest as he usually does, and then goes up forward and pings marks. But Boys stepped up for him.
Yeah.
For the first time, I'd say ever in Cripps' career, he could look around at his team and say, God, I've got teammates.
Yeah.
That's what you guys are here for.
Yeah. No,
and I was super proud. Like I thought Walsh did his job. I thought Noons, he's copped a lot of heat, but they rolled him back in the second half down into the back pocket. I thought he was 88% disposal efficiency. People slag him off for that.
Yeah.
He was clean. He did his job.
Is that where we move forward with Noons? Is he maybe a defender?
Well, Noons is like an odds and sods player for St Kilda. Like no one knows what he is. Is he a half forward? Is he a half back? Is he garbage?
Yeah.
And I know a Carlton fan a long time ago said that he was similar to Cornelia by the fact they both have a face. I mean, I'm not sold on Noons, don't get me wrong, but one thing I think Noons is there for, his reliability, his experience is invaluable. Invaluable, a lot of games. And I thought he did his job well. I mean, you watch the second half, every time he got a loose ground ball, he hit a target with it. And that's all you need.
That's all you need.
He had a steady head.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he was spectacular, but he does his job. I mean, he's all right, isn't he?
Let's talk about, giving up the lead. You did mention it before about not having those winners. And I found myself saying, once we gave up the big lead, we really need some premiership experience. So I understand there is the notion of learning to win, and it's going to come from within. But I really feel like if we can add, a guy or two who have come from a winning culture, who have played in prelims, preferably grand finals, and again, preferably a premiership, who have really gone to the very lengths of what they're capable of. I think that's going to bode well for us, because I just felt like we needed just to ping one back, just one here or there.
I think in the first 35 seconds, Harry McKay had a set shot in front of goal. That would have killed the game off. He missed it. He went on the full.
Yeah.
That you've got to take your chances. But one thing I'll say is they played Hail Mary football, Geelong. And everything went right.
Kamikaze, whatever you want to call it.
If you watch Richmond against Hawthorn, very similar numbers in the first 10 minutes of the final quarter. Richmond were all over them like white on rice.
Mm-hmm.
But Richmond just held, Hawthorn just held firm. The dad's army of the comp knew how to win. Mm-hmm. So I don't think there was much they could do. Everything went right. Every good ball that hit the deck bounced to a Geelong player. Every clearance bounced in the favour. Mm-hmm. Look at how high they were. There was times that the furthest back player was Tom Stewart at centre half forward. Mm-hmm. It was a tough job. And to be fair, you've got to be proud of the boys that they didn't fold. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they conceded a lot of goals, but they did well. They did well. And the pressure acts were still up in the final quarter, which impressed me. Mm-hmm. Players were still doing it. Mm-hmm. I mean, the one time Jacob Wheaterin lets Tom Hawkins get away with him 5 minutes into the fourth.
Yeah.
It was just one of them days where everything went right for Geelong.
Yeah.
And we've done it.
Yeah, we have.
We did it in the second when we started booting it long. Everything went Carlton's way. Mm. Sometimes it happens. And for me, if I was a player, I'd be thinking, Jesus, we tried our best.
Yeah.
And they were coming so hard, but we've won.
Yeah, that's it. And we bottle it now somehow.
And it'll never get as hard as that. No team in the comp can do what Geelong did.
Yeah.
That was Hail Mary. I'm playing at Cardinia Park.
Yeah.
Football at the finest.
Yeah.
And we survived it. Yeah. So Live to fight another day, champs.
Absolutely. Eli Lipschatz, the great man over in Tel Aviv, joining us from Tel Aviv. Love that. Also the skipper of the South Tel Aviv Dragons. Shout out to him and to them. Watching Pitternet drop into the hole and take a pack mark was the highlight for me. We always knew Cruz's injuries were our Achilles heel, looking a lot more positive now. Love it, Lippy. Ruben Silveria, SPS into the midfield for sure. I still think we need some more offensive options in the team.
Yeah, I like that.
Doc adds a lot, but we could deal with someone. We could deal with some more flair in defense. I do like.
You know who we haven't mentioned?
Who?
The new Chris Yarron without the shady past.
Who?
Jack Martin.
Yeah,
How freaking good is
What are we, half an hour in?
Martin is the most fun I've ever had in my lounge room with my clothes on. Honestly, he's good, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, I just want to see him get the ball all the time. Like I've watched someone uploaded just Jack Martin highlights.
Yeah.
I watched that this afternoon on my lunch break.
That was Carlton Blues. Check him out on YouTube.
Absolutely. Honestly, it's like porn.
Yeah.
It's so good.
You know,
Every time he gets the ball, I'm excited.
Yeah, man.
Not many players. I said it last year. We need someone who's like a bums off seat player.
Mm-hmm.
When Martin gets the ball, I just believe something's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like I started thinking lucid thoughts. It's like the first time I heard the Beatles. My pupils dilate. Yeah. So good. Like Jack Martin, I've got a big man crush. If Jack Martin's watching this, love you.
Yeah. Tigi said that he put him into the midfield to start the game because he was seeing the intensity that he brings to the game and the way he has that will to want to impact, and he knew it would spark the rest of them. I thought it was a masterstroke.
Him, Gibbons Betts
as well.
Are just so good. Like the pressure acts from Betts, the pressure acts from Martin. Like honestly, it's like we've got the three amigos. It's better than the three amigos.
It is better than the three amigos.
It's so better.
It's 3 games in.
Oh mate,
we don't know how long we're going to have it for, but we've got to be grateful to have it
honestly,
at the moment.
When Carlton win the flag this year, them 3 are going to be the poster boys of "We Are Here."
Yeah.
We're not coming anymore. We're here.
We're here. Let's take a deep breath for a moment.
Nah.
I want to turn to the votes. So for you guys at home watching, a lot of you have maybe already done this on other social
I think mine's changed every time I've watched
a lot of them have changed. But give us your 3 votes, your 2 votes, and your 1 vote. Dan, I'll start with you. Give us your 1 vote first, and I'll read some of yours out. Your 3, 2, and 1 for you guys at home.
1 vote. L. Casbolt.
Okay.
2 votes.
Yes.
P. Cripps.
Yeah.
3 votes. J. Martin.
Wow. Love it. It's a man crush. It's official.
J. Martin is honestly like I don't care about Cornelio anymore. Cornelio who? It's all about the Martin.
we've got you back.
Who cares about Cornelio? Martin is 10 times the player Cornelio is.
Love it.
I'd say there's about 250 people though that I could give 1 vote to.
Yeah, I know. There's
I want to get Pitternet in there, but I just can't. But he was so good as well, Pitternet. Like I actually at quarter time, I went on the Carlton website and I actually bought his shirt. I was 30-point head start, and I'm like,
you are the classic Carlton supporter.
Like,
bye. I don't want to put my discount code with my membership. I want to pay full price.
I actually paid $110 for that.
Full price.
Can't wait till that comes.
So I went as follows. I went Levi for the 1 vote.
Yeah. So we agree on that.
I went Cripps for the 2 votes.
Okay, we agree on that.
So we agree on that. The Pit. Are you mad?
Have
a word with yourself, mate.
I want to, but like Cripps' contested work was just phenomenal.
And I gave him a 2.
And you know that you know that I always be harsh to Cripps,
yes,
but I'll give him that. Like 1 vote, I thought Levi was just like he was spectacular.
Yeah.
Like
his role, contested marks,
and I just like it's Debbie's fault, but like I really like Casbolt. Like if Debbie's watching this, it's all you because I never even noticed him before.
Debbie, you've done it.
But like every time Casbolt gets the ball, I'm so excited for Debbie. And then like 3 votes, like Jack Martin, man, honestly, just him. Like I used to love Yarron. Yarron's like my all-time favorite Carlton player in my time here.
Yep.
Loved him. He gets the ball and you just believe something was going to happen. It was like watching Ronaldo or Giggs. But Martin's that player, man. Like Pitternet, though, absolutely love Pitternet.
So I think with Pitternet, because he's new, because he's come from the VFL, there's a little bit, Jack Martin, we know he's got a lot of potential. Whereas for Pete, you just don't know. You don't know how well is he going to do at this level, etc. So every time he did something, I was, screaming out like Pete, and I just found myself saying it over and over and over again. His fend off in the ruck and holding it and then just bringing it down like this.
He was ragdolling.
Now let's talk about the fact that it's Reece Stanley and not a traditional ruckman.
To be fair, though, Reece Stanley has been solid this year. He's really evolved his game.
No, he has. I understand that, but coming from a Gawn, Grundy, Goldstein, Nick Nat, these type of ruckmen, the premier ruckman. I wouldn't put him there. Still athletic and all of that, but Piternet's game, Lippy said it before and a few other comments here, filling the hole, taking marks. But also I noticed, I believe it was at 3/4 time, and there was some words exchanged, and he was giving someone a, come on, go and do it.
I enjoyed that fight at half time, and you could see he was just laughing in the face.
Okay, it was half time.
I absolutely frothed that.
Now, that allows the next guy to feel a little bit more secure in himself. Now,
you'd feel safe with him, right, wouldn't you?
We talk about our midfielders being maybe not the biggest aside from Cripps. Some of these boys are still filling out Setterfield, Walsh, Fisher, etc. You got that guy next to you. It's similar. I saw it from Cam Zurhaar from North Melbourne.
Love Zurhaar.
The way he's got that presence.
I love Zurhaar.
And the pit, we don't need him to be the best ruckman in the league. We don't. We just need him to just compete and bring the heat.
I think his ruckcraft, though, is solid, man.
Yeah.
It's a really good ruckcraft.
Yeah.
I mean, my father-in-law, we always argue about who's better, Grundy or Gorn. So I'm in the Grundy camp. For me, I like my ruckman to have 30 touches in the midfield. I froth that.
Mm-hmm.
I also like his weird statement. But Gorn, he always says Gorn is better because of his ability to act as that extra man in defence.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like saying, every time you watch Melbourne, inside 50s, how often is Gorn under pressure, and he takes that mark and stops it. Well, watching Pitternet do that, I'm starting to sway in the Gorn camp, because that helped Carlton. When Carlton turned it over, I think there was about 3 times in the third that it was Pitternet either spoiling it or taking the mark. Phenomenal. Like, honestly, Pitternet, and have a look on the Carlton website at his Carlton picture. It's an absolute epic. It's solid. Like, how can you not love Pitternet? So yeah, maybe I'm harsh not giving Pitternet 3.
No, you are who you are, mate. I've got a man crush on the Pit, and you got a man crush on Jackie
I am
Boy.
loving Martin, man.
Fair call. I think we all are.
I'd like to give 10 threes, really, though, if I was honest.
I know. We made it a little bit hard on ourselves. So I spoke to you last week before the show and said, listen, mate, it's been a disappointing game. We don't want to have too much negativity. 20 minutes max, we'll cover the Melbourne game and then move on. It's been nearly 40 minutes. Let's move on. Unfortunately, that's the end of the Geelong discussion.
But there's more fun because it's the Bombers next.
It is the Bombers next. Now, I don't know about you, and I don't know about you at home, but I have no sympathy for them missing players. If they're bleeding, I want us to, go for the kill. Put the foot down. I don't care. I hate this football club.
I mean, if you were putting bets on at the start of the year of a team will breach COVID protocol, you would have thrown money at Essendon.
So they've tested positive yet again.
Yeah, and then there's rumours going around now that it's a false positive. Which, how many times have we heard that from Essendon? Oh, it wasn't really a positive test.
This script has it's happened.
I can't wait for Joe Watson to be incriminated in this one. I wonder what else they can take off him. His coffee shop. Maybe let's see what else. We've taken the Brownlow medal off him. Let's take something else.
Can you imagine they've consulted with Stephen Dank again? No, in all seriousness, it is a big game in the context of footy's weird. We're looking at doomsday scenario last week with staring down the barrel of 0-3 were the words that I used. We win this week. We're 2-2.
Just got to back it up now next week.
Yep.
And we will do. We'll smash the Bombers. They're a Mickey Mouse side.
We have to beat the Bombers.
Absolutely Mickey Mouse side.
I would hope that, I believe they do. I would hope that the players have that hunger against the Essendons and against the Collingwoods. I feel like those traditions are always passed down. Doesn't matter who's playing.
I think they'll be up for it even more so. And honestly, Essendon can't match that. I hope Essendon have their best 22 out as well. I want no excuses. I hope Gillian's watching this, just let them play.
Yeah.
Who cares? I want to play their best. We'll smash them. It doesn't matter who they have. If they have Heppel, if they have Danaher, even if they bring back all their old players like Goddard and Watson, we'll still smash them by 70.
Yeah. I've got a Bucks party this weekend up in Lawn. One of my best friends. I'm a groovesman.
Is he a bomber?
He's a bomber. Shout out to you, Andrew. He's a mad bomber, and we go at it all the time. He's that Essendon supporter that I believe everyone has. So he's that for me. Love him to death, but I'll be sitting next to him, and it's going to be hell. It's going to be hell.
It will bar him.
But let's be serious. What do we need to be aware of with the Bombers? Because I've watched their games.
Well, I mean, what they're proving at the moment is they're very scrappy. So they've had Fremantle and they've had Swans. So if you watch the Swans games, Swans gave them worries. Fremantle gave them worries. They play the same style of Worsford football. It's very contested. Look to get it on the outside, utilise the run of Sard off half back. He looks to inject the pace of my boy Dylan Shield. Shout out to you. I still love you, even though you're dogged the boys. But yeah, so I mean, they're the two really. That's their points of attack. They like to go down the left heavily. But I mean, I don't see anything that they just grind wins this year. One thing that they have, they lack X factor talent.
I don't know about that. No, I've been impressed with some of their players. I do.
They have moments.
They haven't had that complete performance, and they have played Freo and the Swans, who are not the greatest. I think they've got some weapons, some serious weapons. I don't think it's all come together for them. Heppel out hurts him a bit just because he's that link in the chain that allows Shield to be who he is. But I mean, I still think they'll be up for the fight. They'll want to do the same thing to us.
They'll be up for it, but I mean, I just think like you've got what?
Who am I kidding? They're not going to be up for it.
You've got Audi Conor McGregor with his tattoos, Jake Stringer. I mean, he's pants.
Yep.
He's pants. I mean, I can't see. I think just the way we move the ball, you've got to remember Sydney are a very heavily contested team, very slow and arduous. Fremantle are starting to try and add that injection. And it's a very hustle and grindstone, and they work quite on round one. I reckon Fremantle that played last week would have battered Essendon. So I haven't seen it from Essendon. I think Essendon just kind of, I don't know if I'm biased because I hate them.
I think you are.
No, but genuinely when I watch them, just watching them play, it's not a damaging, it's very one-dimensional style.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I just think when Pittonet, I mean, their ruck stocks are garbage.
Yeah.
Bell Chambers.
I would love Phillips to play this week against the Pit.
Yeah,
I would love
traitorous dog. Yeah, they'd watch Pitt smash him, a proper ruckman. I reckon they can't handle it though. Who's going to stop Martin?
Yep. Let's get to a few comments here because they're fire. Crazy Australians agrees with that. Matty Bam, I tell you what though, with all the players being out, I'm nervous. Ricky Elvis, Essendon is our number one enemy. Don Mazaka, we need to get another win on the board early. Yeah. Ruben Silvera, I should say. We need to destroy Essendon like we did in 2011. Let's not forget, they cut our club in half last year and forced us to sack the coach, which needed to happen. I get that, but we've got to get that back.
It'll be a minimum 40 points against Essendon. We'll batter him.
Tracy Reed, foot on the throat, no sympathy. Yeah. Why is it always bloody Essendon? Just another reason for me to hate that club. Love it. Josh Clevs, we have to be aware of taking them lightly if they lose players. If they have no pressure on them, they will play more freely. Nailed it.
They've just got to
put them away early.
The team talk's just got to be, these guys are the ones who bullied your mate Eddie.
Yeah, that's right. It was their fans.
And tell you what, right?
Yeah.
They've been punished.
Yeah.
Let's punish them more. Let them know it's not acceptable.
Would you reckon that would be spoken about? Or would you reckon that would be thought about?
I think the way Eddie played, and the players got around him when he kicked the goal, I reckon it has been dwelling on his mind.
Essendon fans need to be there to see what Eddie's going to do to them, don't they? Can we let 50 Essendon fans in?
Eddie's well, don't worry, that they will hear from me. I will make sure I will personally deliver the message. You got battered, personally. But no, don't worry. Carlton will smash them. Essendon are a Mickey Mouse side.
I just don't want to get sucked into this again.
Essendon are rubbish.
Yeah.
Hashtag facts.
They're
so rubbish. I mean, come on. I mean, they signed an Irish guy, and then they're surprised an Irish guy's fucked up. That country has a history of screwing up. So, I mean, they need us to keep on going. Like, really, the only reason they're there is because the British Navy can't tow them out to sea and torpedo it.
So much history there.
Because we like the north of the island. Yeah. But the rest is just rubbish.
Debbie's here. Debbie O'Connor. Stuff the bummers. They should play whoever they've got.
I want to say that PC-wise.
Or have 8 points deducted for us and the Ds. Flynn Salvini. Who does Wiedering go to? If Plowman goes to Stringer, in my opinion, Plowman could get a bathing. Big man Charlie, probably McKernan. They might bring in Brown as well.
Danaher's meant to come back. He's played in 2 hit-outs. He's played in 2 hit-outs, yeah. They reckon they're going to do the old Jesse Hogan. I mean, I'd love Wheaters on Joe. I look like a greyhound Danaher. Absolutely smash that pleb.
Yeah. Lippy says, tell us what you really think, Dan.
Can't stand Essendon. Like, honestly, I find it really hard. Like, Geordie, I know he watches this show. He's a bomber as well as a mate of mine. Just find it hard to like him as well, and he's a real good guy.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Bo as well.
Andrew just called me, by the way. Mate, I'm not answering. I'm not answering your call.
But Bo's another Bombers fan as well. It's that one thing you hold against him.
Yeah,
and it's a big scourge on their reputation.
Yeah, let's talk about us. Do we make changes? And if so, which changes do you make? Put this out to you guys. And Dan, what do you think?
I think the only way that you'd make changes is that being serious, I don't think I'm going to call a POM prediction. I think they'll be full strength minus McKenna.
Yeah.
I just
plan for the best.
I just know I know how corrupt Gillian is, and he hates us because he gets his boys not to
Here
sign
we go.
for us.
The woe is me.
Because Gillian went to private school.
The AFL against us.
Yeah, I mean, we're a proper club. But no, serious. I'd say that you've got a maybe pace. I'd say maybe the one thing that they do have is outside run, and they are very proficient. Like you look at Shields' numbers this year, they're good.
Yeah,
like they are good. So like maybe there's an argument that you drop out Noons, which will break my heart a little bit because he did well last week.
Yeah.
But probably either I probably look at Philp, he's been killing it, or I love Fisher as well. I just think Fisher's the type of guy that I thought his preseason form was wonderful. And he was really looking like in that Freo game when we were garbage, he was one of the few that put his hand up and said, I'll get 30 touches.
Yep.
I think he kind of deserves it on the back of that. I'd love to see him. And he seems to know what Carlton's about. I'd imagine he would be hungry to beat.
Yep.
And I'd imagine it would kill him to watch that game last week.
Yeah.
Being injured. Because I reckon he would have played.
Yeah.
With the changes.
No, I mean, I think he's in our best 22.
I'm always a big fan of changing a winning team. I like it. I think it sets
changing a winning team.
Yeah, like if you look at some of the successful Premier League clubs, if you don't quite do well in a winning team, United used to do it quite a lot when they were winning.
Yeah.
If there was some guy that just didn't quite have them good numbers, he got pipped and someone else came in, and it kind of creates that I want to be part of this win.
Interesting.
Like even if we win, I've got to perform. No carriers. That mentality of win and lose, you play.
Yeah.
So maybe there is. I'd say Noons though. I mean, like you'd probably be between. like Plowman, regardless of what fans think.
I thought he was outstanding.
It is
really.
I
understand his second
absolute freaking lock.
We know we
when Cripps,
best and fairest night we realised it there.
When Cripps is saying he's the hardest, most efficient player in their team. When Doc says it, when Teague says it. I don't care if you don't think he's good. He's obviously good. And for me, I'm going to stick up for Plowman. His CUA interview was absolute puss, but he did really well like Gary Rowan did next to nothing for 3 quarters.
Yeah. And
in the 4th quarter, he started to influence a bit. But genuinely, look at his pressure acts, look at his spoils, look at the ground he covers.
Kicking early as well was really good.
Look at the ground he covers. And he also had to, if you actually look at his GPS data, he wasn't on Gary Rowan in the first half.
Yeah.
He spent 50% of the time on Ablett. And I didn't even know Ablett was playing until the 4th.
Yeah.
So he didn't do so bad. So
he's not droppable. So
like for me, maybe there's an argument for Noons for Fisher or Philp.
Okay.
That'd be the only change I'd be willing to do. But I don't think Fisher could play the rollback in the back pocket, which seems to be what Teague utilised to get us out of the shit.
With Noons, yeah. I think knowing what we know about who played on the weekend in this scratch match against Geelong, the highlights look really flashy today. Josh Honey looked nice. Lockie O'Brien's goal. It wasn't just the goal. It was the fact that he ran from half back, kicked it long, followed up, got rewarded with the run and kicked the goal. People have been talking about needing to drop Setterfield, the need to bring in Lockie O'Brien. I'm for one. We spoke about it last week on the show. We were yearning when we went to the draft and we put these kids in and just exposed them. We were yearning for the ability to have them earn their spots. That's what one of the big criticisms was that they're too young. They're in there. They're not up to it, and they're not made to earn games. I'm loving the fact that I'm seeing Lockie O'Brien fight away there. I'm loving the fact that I'm seeing Stocker really have to fight his way, because when they do come in, and they will, when they do come in, I don't want them to come out. And I think that's what we're doing with keeping Noons. And I mean, I said last week, I don't know what we're doing with Noons and, what is he? I think that's what he's there for. I think he's going to keep a guy like O'Brien hungry. I think he's going to keep a guy like Stocker hungry, and when they do come in, they're in for good. So I'm all for keeping it as it is. But
I'm with you.
I don't know. Is the answer.
I think the 22 as well. If you look at it and you're a Lockie O'Brien, you're a Honey, you would probably say that there's 3 positions that probably won't be there for our next Premiership. So that would be Cade Simpson, Eddie Betts. And you probably say Noons' spot. He's probably not a long-term option. So there is really 3 positions in this 22 to lock down now to own for the future. So I'd be saying keeping Stocker and Lockie O'Brien on ice and saying retire these old blokes. But I mean, Josh Honey,
force them out.
Yeah. I mean, Josh Honey for me, like if I was picking the team, just based on that goal, I'd throw him in Cunner's place.
It's a good mark over Henderson too.
He's a pressure act specialist as well. He's a little. If you like Williamson, he's a little tit. You'll love Honey
I
because
love the way you describe Williamson as a little asshole.
he's a little arsehole. Yeah, I love it.
Loved it.
I love it.
Loved it. A few comments here. Bailey the artist. Dan loves calling clubs a Mickey Mouse side, and we love it. There you go, mate.
A few Mickey Mouse sides in the AFL.
There it is. Junior time. Setterfield game high 6 tackles. Good to see him go back to the fundamentals.
He's a little. He's another little arsehole, just with the ability to get the ball back. He's not a thug, but he really fights hard.
Yeah. When it's not going your way offensively, like it wasn't for Setters, you know what we as, I guess, fans, and I'm sure the coaches as well, ask for is put the tackle pressure on. And so I thought that was a tick there.
He just needs a SPS versus Dogs game.
Yeah. Debbie O'Connor, I dreamt last night we kicked 58 goals to 0. Love that.
I love that dream.
Big man Charlie, wouldn't mind seeing a young mid in. Josh Clev says O'Brien in for Nunes. Don Mazaka, I hope the players don't go out thinking it's going to be easy against a weaker Essendon side. Absolutely. Jordan Patterson says bring Fisher in and take Nunes out. Quite a few Lockie O'Briens in. Bruno here says Josh Honey in. We've got Debbie O'Connor says Teague has said he doesn't change a winning team except for injuries. He definitely has said that. Ruben says Plowman absolutely needs to stay. Zeke says Setterfield isn't a possible out when Fisher gets fit. I guess we'll see what happens when we get there. Big man Charlie, why do I keep hearing Kennedy is killing it in the twos, yet he's always first emergency? Do we bring him in for some extra grunt? We'll touch on that. We've got
he's the new Kerridge Kennedy.
Ricky Elvis, see the Bombers shoot up. Had to throw that in there. Let's touch on that. Kennedy, he's a tease. We do hear about him playing well in the twos.
But you see,
is it a case of Setterfield, Nunes, or Kennedy? Like, is that where he and Fisher and whatnot? Is it going to be the battle there?
My issue is though, when you look at his numbers in the twos, he doesn't dominate. And like when you're looking at the other AFL clubs to get in their team, they dominate in VFL and that reserve level, that B grade. I don't see it with Kennedy. I love Kennedy as well, but I just think how many times do you want to flog the dead horse?
Yeah.
Like he only got in the team last year because he kicked goals, but he was signed for the help for Cripps.
Yeah.
So for me, I would always have Stocker. To me, Stocker's number one for that. If there's an injury to Setterfield, who is doing his job of helping Cripps, he's laying the tackles, he's laying the pressure acts. He might not be getting 30 touches, but he is impacting the game in a way.
Yeah, fair call.
So to me, Stocker would be the next. I would say he's next cab off the rank if Cripps needs help, and that's why he's been working with Cripps exclusively. So
fair call. No, that's a fair call. I think the one name that I've seen in both these practice games, and again, I'm taking a little bit off, the praise because it's a compromise game. It's 14 on 14, or I think this was 16 on 16. Matt always is kicking goals every week.
The first ever famous person on the show.
Yeah, well, yeah, he was. He was the first player interview, and I remember watching him last year. He had that breakout game against Footscray, I think it was, where he kicked 5. I think that's what it was. But he kicked 5 goals. When I watched him play live, there were situations where, aerial contests where he needed to bump his guy, wasn't able to do that. We saw the highlights today, and again, taking a little bit off because it's compromised, and I know that we're only seeing the best of the game, but one of the goals that he kicked, he actually used his body well, pushed the guy out, and ran onto it. I thought it was...
Looks bigger as well, doesn't he? He looks like he's bulked up a little bit.
Yeah, but and then when you've got an Eddie Betts teaching you how to do the forward craft, not knowing what their situation is like, I think he's one that we can put in there. Not this week, but I think he's the one I'm seeing that's impressing the most.
I think Owies and Honey really need to look at Carlton and think how important Eddie Betts is. We haven't had a small forward since he left the first time. So really, there is I think a desperate need for another Eddie, 2 of them. So for me, I think Cunningham, he will be looking over his shoulder, and there'll be a great chance there for. I think Honey is the answer. I think Honey is got them Betts qualities of brilliance and intensity.
You mean like once Betsy's gone?
No, I think very soon you'll see Honey. I'd say if I put a gun to my head, round 12, we'll see Honey in for Cunningham. I reckon the Cunningham experiment will end.
Yeah.
And then you'll see how good it is because all the other teams have 2 quality small forwards.
Yeah.
And with our forward line, with them big toes,
yeah,
we need another Eddie Betts type extraordinaire.
Yep.
And Betts and Honey is better than Weight Betts.
Interesting.
Get around that.
Question time for you guys. Let's turn this to you. We've got about 4 or 5 minutes left. Thank you very much for tuning in. Again, thank you to the members of the channel. But just thanks for being a part of this. This has been great. And Shad as well. Thank you very much for having us here. You do some great work for us there. Assertive Media, guys, you can see it up here. It's coming up on the screen. But let's turn to you. We've got some fan questions. Wildy, I'm going to let you take this answer, and I'll just find a few from the socials. Do we still get Papley? Take it away.
Well, do you remember last year I said that you don't need Papley when you've got Gibbons?
Yeah.
No, you don't need Papley. Screw him.
I slated you so hard for that.
Screw him. Got Gibbons. Nah, probably, definitely. I think I'm saying we need a small, let's be serious for a minute. Papley, he's class, man.
Yeah, man.
He's class.
Tough.
Like, imagine Papley instead of Cunningham.
Yep. What do we got here? King Birch. If we don't play next week, should we get the 4 points?
We'll play. Guaranteed. 100% we will play.
Yeah, I think we'll play.
Essendon will get away with it, and it will be a full 22 minus McKenna.
Good question here from John Munro on Instagram. What happens to Cruiser when fit if Pitto is still killing it?
Retire him.
Play Pitto.
Retire him.
I really do believe that.
I don't think, and this is a controversial
Again,
opinion.
nothing. We're not the final answer, but
I think controversial opinion. You need a ruckman that you can build your team around, and he's reliable. All the other teams do.
Yeah,
you can't build a future with Cruiser because look at the history. Every year he has misses 4 to 8 games.
Yeah.
So to me, it's either we keep him in a development role. I'd love him to be in a development role to really nurture TDK. But to me, moving forward, I think Pitternet number 1, and it's TDK's job to usurp Pitter because Pitter's class, man.
Yeah, man. No, he's good. He's good.
And once he learns that midfield just needs to learn to rove to him.
Yeah.
That was how many hit outs did he win that we just went the wrong way? Once that stabilizes, wow, we're good.
Daniel Gamble, do you reckon Paddy Dow still has his spot in the team?
No. I think at the moment, no.
No, and it's okay. That's okay.
It's good though.
He's going to have to really earn it. We've spoken about all these guys mingling in the twos and haven't even mentioned Paddy Dow. And he's just going to have to force his way through.
And look at how Thompson now is doing in Richmond.
He's doing well. You did say he was better than Paddy.
Yeah, and I got slated because
I absolutely let you have it.
I can't believe it as well. The reasoning, pick 3 is higher than pick 17. Madness.
No, I did let you have it.
But Thompson Dow, see, to me, he's hungry, and it was a great little thing that Dimmer said about him. Thompson Dow is displaying the qualities needed to usurp one of his senior friends. So I think that's exactly what Dow needs to do. He needs to go there, bang on the door. Because at the moment in the twos, if we call it that, the names that we're hearing are Dow, a Stocker, someone else has been mentioned a lot. I can't remember his name. O'Brien.
Yeah.
Like these 3 are really ahead of him. They're banging the door.
Yeah,
so to me, I think now it's no more games are gifted. You earn the games.
Yep. Anthony Walsh, this is a big one. It's on Facebook. There was talk about soft tissue injuries being an issue this year. So I think we'll be forced to use our extended list. Players like Owie, Stocker, Cottrell, Ben Silvani, and McCready might come in handy at some point. Fisher, Lockie O'Brien, and Dow are pretty handy to have knocking on the door. Looking at the last game, we played out of our skins. The way we grabbed the ball and shared it was top class. I wouldn't take too much out of the last quarter. We just copped a team throwing everything at us. They're a top flight team, Geelong, and to hang on like that shows courage. There's a little luck with Ablett's miss, but Eddie's tackle must have got everyone out of their comfortable seats. I know my fists were pumping and the years were heard all over my quiet neighborhood. Go Blues. Thank you very much, mates. And he's followed up with a question here. A series of questions. What do you guys... Siri, get out of here. What do you guys think about Collingwood low-scoring games? And can we counter this with our tall forwards? They tend to neutralize the ball with high-leaping defenders. Should we play Martin Cripps out of the goal square? West Coast Eagles started this trend now, and all the top teams are jumping on board. Big question. I guess we're looking at Collingwood being the benchmark of the competition. So, I mean, I don't know. The answer is I don't know yet. What I think about the low-scoring games is they're going to get better. I think there's an adjustment period to... I think we're now learning you've got to come out the blocks. There's no more war of attrition. You just got to come out of the blocks. I think I really do feel and I really do hope this becomes a higher quality game overall. I don't know if you're going to be able to make it too much of a scrap early because you're going to need to score early and put that pressure on. What do you think?
Well, I mean, effectively, you're missing a quarter when you take all the time missing.
Correct.
And you can see some teams, especially Richmond, they're struggling kind of with game management of when to press the button to go into their next gear. And they've done it the last 2 times a little bit too late. To answer the question about Collingwood, I think, yeah, if you turn the ball over with Collingwood, they rely on possession and they exploit that by interception.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't kick it in aimlessly. But I think the game plan you saw that worked last week against Geelong is the benchmark of how you play them. You saw Richmond, they kind of outshot kicked each other.
Yeah.
And whoever's game was better was winning each time. So I think, yeah, I probably wouldn't go as tall to try and alleviate that.
Yep.
But I think Casbolt, McGovern, and McKay are the men for the job.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
I think they are the men for the job.
Okay, well, guys, that's an hour already. One last bit of news. One last bit of news before we go. We'll have a cap up for grabs as a competition. So thank you very much to those who got in touch and purchased one. Tony Emini bought a hat, right? And he didn't want it. He bought a hat and he specifically told me, give it to one fan for a competition. So we had the margin competition with these lovely pieces of work from Sammy G. So this week we will have a game day guess the margin competition where you'll need to do the same thing as before, follow and tag 2 friends or whatever, and you'll have a cap come your way for the person who predicts the margin. So thanks very much to Tony. Obviously, thank you very much to you guys for your support. And yeah, with Sammy G as well, if you go to sammygdesign.com, the Carlton prints, you can get 10% off when you use the code Blue Abroad. It's all one word. And you can go there. They're A3 prints. I love them. I'm very grateful to have them here. And I'm glad she sent them. And that's it, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Dan,
cheers.
Thanks very much, bro. Go the fucking Blues, mate.
4 points against the Bombers.
Let's do it.
Here we go.